Rishabh, thank you for being a part of this Bucks Beta program for aaidee and for trusting us with your investment journey. Really grateful for that. Uh, let's start off with a quick introduction. So, tell us something about yourself and a bit about your investment journey and why did you decide to be a part of this beta program?
Thank you. I'm Rishabh. I'm a marketer by profession. Currently, I work with Games 24/7. Originally from Delhi, right now I've been in Bangalore for the past few years. And my investment journey essentially started post the first COVID lockdown phase. I think that was the time when a lot of people took up investing. I used to invest, but it was mostly mutual funds and very casually like an SIP. But that was the time because we had a lot of time on our hand, so started reading up about investing and also burned my hands initially with day trading as well. I think that was the time when a lot of people were doing it. Those were the discussions we were having with friends. So that is where I started taking interest in it, and like over time also realized like what are the things that I have to do, what are my strengths there, what is more that I need to learn. So around that point of time, once like initially started with day trading for, I think that lasted for 2 to 3 weeks. Then I learned my lesson. But post that, it was more about picking up the right stocks, like reading up on where the next opportunities lie, and just parking my funds there. So that is how it initially started. Over time, like when I saw the entire cycle, understood that it was more about staying in the market and picking fundamentally good stocks. So it's been a learning journey since then.
Thanks. Yes,
Hmm.
that's quite a journey. And yeah, a lot of investors started off during the COVID when that was a time for a lot of people to experiment with the equities. So, and why did you decide to be a part of this beta program?
Sure, fair. So again, like I mentioned initially, a lot of energy time that I spent was more about picking the right stocks, like which is like what industries to look at, what kind of sectors, which are the companies that are doing well. But over time, I also realized my personal style became just buying a stock and holding it for a long period of time. And when I saw that the market also went through cycles, there were some, like, I think now over the last 4 or 5 years, I've seen two cycles of crashes when the market has gone down quite a lot. So people generally say, right, you have to buy the dip, what's the right time to sell. So I understood like the essence was in the picking up the right time, like getting the timing right for picking
Okay.
stocks. But again, that requires a lot of specialization, a lot of study needs to go into it. I would say myself to be a semi-casual sort of an investor, just reading up and picking the stocks therein. But then I started to realize that it was more about like also in having that discipline in investing. Typically when you reach it, you have some target in mind. Reach there, you think, okay, I'll stay in the market for some more time, probably I'll maximize my returns, but then the stock would probably sometimes go down. Or if you buy something, there's a dip that comes in, you tend to sell it. Or even if it hits your like the SL that you put there, you still think, okay, in a few days the market will recover, you'll get it. So that was not, I realized that was a suboptimal way of staying in the market. So when I got to know about aaidee, I think that resonated with me a lot because personally I faced a lot of issue with just exiting or entering the market when you should, because you know a lot of rules, like this is when you should do it, but it's also about you, there's some resistance into doing it, you get more optimistic or probably pessimistic at some time.
Absolutely.
So just to get that discipline into and just following what like the experts had to say, that I think was the biggest differentiator for me.
Investing is one of the parts of investing, obviously, is the maths behind it, figuring out
Yeah,
what's going to work, what's not. And then the second part is the behavioral, sticking to those plans.
yeah.
So you rightly said sticking to your plan, and that's the only difference, I guess, between good investors and not so great. Tell us about a bit about your experience so far with aaidee. How has aaidee helped you? So you mentioned what were the pain points, and you understand how the behavioral part of investing also works. So
Sure.
if you could touch upon and explain to our viewers what has been your experience and how has aaidee been instrumental in solving some or any of it.
I started the mid of last year. That's when I really joined the beta program. I remember having a few discussions with you about the markets as well, like what kind of stocks to look at, what how do you invest, and that's when you also mentioned about aaidee and what you were trying to build at that point in time. So initially, it started as just I thought like if the system is giving me some suggestions, then I would trust that more, given the past behaviors that I had had. So initially, it started as just to have some sort of guidance into like my investment behavior as well, or just sticking to those plans. But over time, what I realized was there were very simple things that you have to follow. I think every book on investing and any blog you read, it tells you about just staying in the market, just have that discipline. You should have a target price and SL price, but wasn't following that. So I think that with those nudges every day, I was getting those recommendations, putting in those targets almost every single day whenever the targets were getting hit. So that kind of helped me also kind of. I started seeing results in a couple of months there. So initially it was just as a nudge that would help me maximize my returns, but over time I realized like it's if it can be that simple to get more returns out of after you've picked a stock, it is also about just optimizing and trying to get the best results out of it. So that's where ID helped me quite a lot. Initially, the processes used to be a little manual, but over time that also became very seamless. So initially, like if I was, and again, it's a matter of privilege because initially I was spending maybe 5 minutes a day. Now that has gone down to under a minute. So like comparing now, it seemed like a more tedious process, but I'm sure like giving 5 minutes a day wasn't that big a process. So it's been great to see that journey in terms of like the use case. Like I was sold in the first 3 to 4 months. I think I saw real value in it, but over time as a tool also it's become quite easier to use. For example, the watch list feature, I think that also helps me just even if I'm not invested in a stock, but I can at least see how the trends are there, and probably if I want I can add those. So those kind of features that have been added over the time have been real value for me.
Got it. So I think you already answered, but if you want to add to my next question is one thing about ID which you find most relevant or which you have found, most relevant for your investing journey. Uh,
Hmm.
if there's anything else or just
Sure.
elaborate.
Watch list was one thing that has really helped me. But I think more than that, it gets to the simplest of things again. So even if you miss you don't put your like the EOD orders, AMA orders every day, there's that nudge that comes that the price has been breached. So I think that also gives you a lot of peace of mind if some days you've missed it. Probably you're busy or traveling or something. But when you get that nudge, you already know that you can just go and place those orders at that point of time. So I think it's the simpler things like those that make it very seamless. And like that is one feature that I really like for somebody like me who's not been very disciplined with things. I think those sort of nudges like keep me honest and help me just try to use that.
Absolutely. If I correct me if I'm wrong, just trying to rephrase what you said, is probably a tool or an assistant who takes over your intention of adding things to watch list
Yeah.
and also monitoring them that for whatever the price points that you would like to get in and
Yeah.
keeping a track of that and sort of giving you a nudge or a heads up.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Uh, anything which you wish ID had better support for or something that you find really missing? Uh, and we've discussed quite a few, but if there's anything
Yeah.
that comes to your mind right now.
Got it. As a feature, but I think more as I think UI really like if some sort of recommendation, not probably about stocks, but also some information that we can get about some of the sectors that like what are the
Got it.
updates that are coming there, or probably news related to the stocks that we're holding. I think that then becomes a one-stop shop for me. Like all the information that I need, I can get within the ID
Get it.
platform itself. And that would be really helpful.
Got it. So,
So, like I've been using Zero Dha for a lot of time. There are a lot of nudges that come there. For example, if there's a quarterly call or earnings call that is happening or anything of that sort, so you have to open the app. But what has like now started happening, ID has become my primary tool to just track the stock. So I think also having that information there makes it very seamless. I don't have to go
absolutely.
to any other platform for those.
Finally, so there would be users new to the stock market and watching this. So anything that you would like to tell them? What has been your any key takeaway or message to equity investors
Hmm.
who are on the sidelines or already invested and planning to start off with a portfolio?
Talking about my journey, right? From the outside, when you're not investing, you hear these stories of, okay, you got like 20x returns in one year. There's some like multi-bagger stocks. So a lot of emphasis is paid on like what stock to pick. Like there is just one stock if you had it, and it's always in retrospective, right? If you had bought it like 10 years back, today you would have had probably 1 lakh would have become 10 crores or things like that. So I think a lot of given like that's the marketing around investing of the maximizing returns, but essentially you are just building a corpus for yourself, and a lot of it is just about keeping things simple. It's not about like that one stock, but having like a portfolio wherein which meets your goals. And of course, like all of us want to maximize those returns, but the right way to go about it is not just picking one stock, but like picking fundamentally good companies that we know of. It doesn't have to be some obscure company that you've heard of probably one month back. If you look at like the results as well, like the blue chip stocks over a longer period of time, so you have to stay in the market for a long period of time. It can't be an overnight success that you can get from there. So it's more about like maintaining that discipline, that just staying in the market for a longer period of time with fundamentally good stocks, and just starting small, because there's a lot of things that you have to learn. So you won't get your like multi-bagger on the first try, but it's just about starting sooner rather than later, and then trying to learn along the way. That's one thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if I just rephrase again
Hmm.
what you said very rightly, there's no magic wand in investing. Number one, people have to go through the grind, and it also what you said. I was just reminded of this quote I had read somewhere, that rather than trying to be the most intelligent person, which you talked about, in your own way, like picking the best stock,
Yeah.
finding that one particular stock. It's not about finding that one particular stock, because I mean, finding the Tesla or a Microsoft at that point of time. In obviously all of these is this is in hindsight. So
Hmm.
having a process which you're able to stick to, and you're able to get a good stream of good compounders, and
Yeah.
obviously some of them can become Page Industries or Tesla and so on. People think the holy grail of investing is finding the next Tesla or Page Industries, but
Hmm.
you rightly said it's going through that grind, having a process, and then if you're able to stick to your process, uh, the market is quite secular, my friends. Okay, awesome. So thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Mhm.
Glad to go.